So a year before Batman became a snowman, you had a murderer turn to a snowman right onto your video cassette. Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I'm here with a brand new Christmas-themed movie review, and this Christmas-themed movie review is going to be for a 90s direct-to-video horror film. And, yeah, it's a cheap, low-budget slasher renaissance film from the 90s. It was from the year 1997, and, it had a concept similar to a film that came out the year after it, and you all know I reviewed that film with the same title, and now we're reviewing a film with the same title again, except this time it's a horror movie, a more parodied horror movie, and that film is going to be for none other than 1997's Jack Frost from Michael Cooney. Some of you may have not heard about this one, but there are some horror fans who do know about this one. And it's a similar concept to the one I did last year. But it's a horror movie, and it's definitely not like a attempted depressing, bleak, attempt at a family movie. But the plot of this version is there's a serial killer named Jack Frost, because he does winter-themed kills, becomes genetically mutated in a car wreck on his way to his execution. Then after which, his spirit enters a snowman, and he becomes a murdering snowman who's hell-bent on revenge for the sheriff who caught him. Yeah. So, the production details was, well, most of the production got revealed in an interview. It was in an interview with Fangoria, where writer Michael Cooney revealed that he had served as director of the film because they couldn't afford a director, and he further addressed the low budget of the film. And then Cooney even references literally Campbell Soup's Let It Snow advertisement, and even noted that the commercial, which literally featured a living snowman character, had a budget apparently 3 times that of the film. And even stated that another film he wrote earlier called Identity would have a budget of $30 million. The film he directed, this movie Jack Frost, was made for the cost of its catering budget. And portions of the film, when it came to filming the movie, were often filmed at Fawn Lodge in California on the northwest shore of the Big Bear Lake. So after the movie was completed, the movie did not go to theaters. It couldn't afford to go to theaters. Instead, it was dumped right to DVD and VHS. VHS release was done by Apex Entertainment. The DVD release was done by Similar Entertainment in the year 1997. And both releases have been long out of print. And then, on December 2016, Vinegar Syndrome released the movie on Blu-ray. And it had the film digitally remastered in a 2K presentation. The special features even included this audio commentary, a video introduction by Michael Cooney, and a video interviewer with actor Scott McDonald, and and Dean Lent, the photography director. And upon its first release in 1997, it was obviously critically panned, but the film has developed a cult following because of all the comical death scenes and the poor special effects, and apparently it must have made a decent profit on DVD and video cassettes that it got a sequel in 2000 called Jack Frost 2: Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman. And interesting enough for those 90s people, Jack Frost marked the film debut of Shannon Elizabeth. Now, for my reaction, well, y'all know I reviewed You all familiar that I reviewed Jack Frost, the Michael Keaton version last year, and you knew my thoughts on that one. Not a very good movie. Now I saw this one that some of you are a little more familiar with and prefer, and which is this movie. We got it the year before the Michael Keaton version had even came out. And this movie, I kid you not, this was honestly a very entertaining movie. Was it bad? Yeah, it kind of is. But that's what made it a fun film. It had fun with the stupidity of it. Now, I think I do remember when I was little, I went to the smaller video store, browsed all the VHS copies of films, randomly walked into one section, I guess this might have been the horror section, and I came across the VHS cover, moving cover of this movie. And let me tell you, that VHS cover definitely gave me a bit of a shock. Though the movie itself is not actually scary. It's more goofy than what the cover makes it look like. Like, how this movie begins, it's literally starts off with this narration from this little narrator telling the small kid a Christmas bedtime story of Jack's killing sprees. And then we cut to a snowy December night where you have a state execution transfer vehicle crossing into the quiet backwater town of Snow Mountain. Inside is the serial killer Jack Frost, who we were discussing, that the narrator was talking about, who had eluded police for years and left a trail of 38 bodies across 11 states, and he got arrested finally by Sam Tiller, the sheriff of Snow Mountain. And Jack is then even scheduled to be executed at midnight. But he kills the guard and the vehicle crashes into a genetic research truck, and Jack gets exposed to the chemicals from inside the truck, and it causes him to dissolve and fuse with the snow. And that's how your movie begins right there. And you know what kind of goofy, campy, bad horror movie you're about to get. But there's a lot to love about the film. Like, a snowman who has literally remarked has no legs or feet, he manages to... The killer snowman drives this police cruiser around town, and even though it's supposed to be close to freezing, like, nobody's breath shows, there's no sign that car exhaust when the cars are running, and the snow reminds you more of flocking or styrofoam peanuts than actual snow because this was shot in California. And the teenage girl even gets the hots for her boyfriend just a few hours after her brother is gruesomely murdered. She talks him into breaking into the sheriff's house of all places, just to get it on, and then she tells him that he has to build a nice fire in the fireplace and open some wine. Then after teenage Jake's head is cut off by a sled runner, his father argues with the sheriff about whether Tommy, the sheriff's son, had anything to do with it. The sheriff even maintains that Tommy wouldn't have been fighting with Jake because Jake is at least 2 feet taller than Tommy. And at that moment, someone in the background literally chimes in, "Not anymore." And then when the evil snowman is defeated and starts to melt away, the sheriff literally wrestles with a fat snowman made out of some sort of fabric for an extended period. Like it's just honestly, that's honestly pure entertainment for a movie like this. And I think that stuff works very well. Like, it's with an average rating like 4.7 on IMDb, it means that you're going to be watching something pretty awful. Especially if that's a horror movie that went straight to video, but it's entertainment of the lowest order. It seems like it's a good film, but it's like this classic clip of Fox News where it's like literally any other classic clips from Fox News you probably watched. It's a good enough reason to love Jack Frost right there. It's like B- grade horror, but the producers, directors, and cast do not pretend this flick is manna from heaven. The plot is corny. It's a psychotic serial killer on his way to execution gets splashed with genetic chemicals and turns him into a snowman. And Snowman, aka goes by the name Jack Frost, his actual human name, he goes on a murder rampage to fight the small town sheriff that arrested him. And it's got a limited budget, and the crew had to make do with the limited special effects, and most of the money appears to be spent on the snowman's costume. Particularly difficult shots are managed by cartoons or pan-away shots of where the camera moves away to disguise the details. Any film that has a serial killer being regenerated as a snowman deserves some credit for a bonkers premise alone. The film does make the best of the premise, and what makes it even more outstanding is that it's incredibly mean-spirited in the right ways. Like, you get a scene where a teenage bully gets his head bitten off, and the parents of the deceased bully and his victim get in an argument, and the victim's father states that his son was a couple feet higher than his own, and then the onlooker blurts out, "Not anymore, he ain't," and you don't know. And you don't know, like, this could obviously is the killer snowman. right there, just hiding. The scathing dialogue of it, much of it gets literally spewed by the Jack Frost monster snowman. It's got that perfect little reminiscence of wisecracking villains from 80s horror films like Freddy Krueger or the Chenard Cenobite from Hellraiser 2. And it's a pair, and it's not really like a straight up horror movie, and most of the time, it's literally a parody horror movie with some gore, and the humor is only fair. Like, the whole idea is funny. And as a serious treatment is given by all the actors, like, it must have been hard to emote when you're facing this obviously fake snowman in a rubber suit. It's amusing that it's even filmed without the benefit of snow for the most part, because there's a scene of a snowman contest where the only snow is the fake stuff on a green lawn. There's no snow on the roads or tree cars, just on the lawn, and that's pretty funny. And the characters do the typically, like every horror movie, characters always got to do some of the stupidest things required in most horror movies, like this, like splitting up, taking for granted the thing is destroyed or running away after knocking it back on its heels. There's a little humor that's definitely funny, but sometimes it often also likes to rely on the ridiculous situation, and that's perfectly fine. And of course, there's a mad scientist in one scene involved. He explains how Jack Frost became this snowman serial killer, but like all other mad scientists, he doesn't like having the proof of the genius destroyed until it's too late for him. And when it comes to the snowman himself, Jack Frost, or the killer snowman, his dialogue is actually really enjoyable. His dialogue is him speaking in puns and constant joke, and every time he speaks, he often says something stupid, but that's also very funny to watch. And the best moment of the movie, is easily when he repairs himself with his head, where his arm should be, his nose is on his stomach, he gets it all wrong, and he literally says, Look, my out of Picasso. It's ridiculous and out of place, and I wonder if maybe the filmmakers were influenced by this beginning scenes in Toy Story, where Potato Head tries to put himself back together and tries to make Ham see that he's pretending to be Picasso, but Ham doesn't get it. So maybe they got a little reference from that scene right there. And it does add to the B-movie quality the film is trying to achieve. And the film is also full of moments where you think you know what is going, but then it takes a really funny twist. And at one tense moment, there is this teenager in a house who could literally die in about 10 different ways. When you look at his surroundings, you're constantly wondering which object's going to kill him. And then something entirely different kills him while heavy metal music is playing. And easily, I think the best kill of the movie is the ornament and the tree kill. Where it's the bully's mother, I think it is, definitely is at home, near the Christmas tree. The killer snowman enters the house, and then crumples a whole bunch of ornaments onto her face, and then impales her right onto the tree. Right there, and I think that's easily the best kill of the movie. No doubt. That's my favorite kill in this film. And while this movie, it's stupid, it's a movie that's having a great time with being stupid. It's got some horrible cuts and camera angles, I can admit that, but the way the movie emphasizes on these cuts makes it obvious that the movie intentionally was trying to make lame cuts and overly dramatic camera angles that are kind of embarrassing. And hey, for a direct-to-DVD horror, regardless if it's cheap or bad or not, it has a really fun showdown. During the finale and climax, Jack the Killer Snowman returns with that police cruiser that he's driving through town to the station, confronts Sheriff Sam, then Agent Stone reveals himself to be this representative of the genetic research company who created the chemicals, and he revealed the snowman was a mutated Jack Frost. He revealed that the human soul exists as a chemical, and that acid was going to be used to contain DNA in case of a nuclear holocaust. They attempt to destroy Jack by blowing him up by releasing aerosol cans to the police station, and they fire a bullet at him, but it doesn't work. Then they use blow drivers to drive Jack into a furnace, which evaporates the snowman. And Jack condenses, kills Stone though, and wounds Manners. So Jack does not die from that either. Jack then traps Sam and Ryan in his car, but Sam escapes invariably throwing the oatmeal Ryan made him at Jack, and he burns the snowman's head. Ryan then puts antifreeze in the oatmeal, and it could help keep his father from getting cold. Sam then tells his friend Paul Daverill to fill the bed of his truck with antifreeze. Then Jack chases Sam through the halls of a church and finally catches him. He drives in, and then driving an icicle into his chest and almost killing him, though. And the truck full of antifreeze arrives, though, just in time before Jack can finish off Sam. And Jack and Sam duel, fight, brawl, and they crash through a window and into the truck's bed. Jack Frost then melts into the antifreeze, and the antifreeze is poured back in the containers and buried deep under the ground of Snow Mountain. Sam's wife Anne then realizes that the state police are on their way, and Paul asks Sam what they're going to tell them. Well, and Sam decides they're going to say, "Tell them it's too late." And when it thinks like the movie is over, it's actually not, because one of the containers is shown to be bubbling, and it hints Jack is still alive. Well, that wouldn't be much of a shock because this movie did get a sequel. With that being said, regardless though I have fun with Jack Frost, is there any bad qualities with this movie? Well, yeah, obviously there is. It's no great movie at all. I mean, it's not like an overly great film. Like, some of the camera work I've mentioned, it's off. Even though, yeah, I get this is a low-budget movie, but come on, don't have the camera work constantly be off in nearly every single scene. And second, like, some of the acting, while the actors are having fun with the movie, can be a little bit hammy and over the top from the rest of the side characters and citizens. However, the best performances of the movie are Christopher Alport and Scott McDonald. You can tell Christopher Alport really enjoyed working on this. And I really like the character he played in this movie. I think Sam's actually this very enjoyable protagonist. And then Scott McDonald as Jack Frost, hilarious to watch from start to finish. He's a serial killer, but his dialogue is just so enjoyable, you can't really hate him. He's kind of a love-to-hate villain, because his dialogue is so perfect, and some of his jokes really work. Especially when he ends up flying through that car, and Jack Frost pretty much Jack Frost is like to Sam, "Hey, I can see your house from here," and he literally crashes onto the ground. Right there, like, there's never a moment when Jack Frost is ready to not spout out a joke. Right here, and his voice makes the jokes more hilarious. Right there. And I do like their fight, and their fight's actually pretty epic for a direct-to-DVD film. And speaking of that, their fight together, back to the bad qualities, I feel like their fight should have been a lot longer, because their fight felt pretty brief. I kind of wish their fight was a little longer. And I do hate it has a sequel tease, because this movie has a sequel. And I've heard it's not very great. But other than those, Jack Frost, it's still a fun, enjoyable ride that I had a good time watching. So in the end, I would probably just stream Jack Frost if you want an entertaining Christmas horror movie, or some could call this a Christmas movie. It's not really a Christmas movie, but it could be kind of one. A Christmas horror movie that's so bad and over the top you can actually enjoy it. Heck, it's on YouTube if you want to check it out. It's actually on YouTube for free if you guys want to go check it out after watching this. I'll post a link in the description below. Anyways, that's it for my review of Jack Frost. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Jack Frost, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you're looking for a goofy winter slasher that does a Jack Frost better than 1998 did, then totally stream this one wherever you can find this one. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rate Jack Frost 1997, I'm going to give Jack Frost 1997 a 7 out of 10. There we go. That wraps up Jack Frost 1997. So, our next review is going to be for another Christmas horror movie, and it's not a killer snowman this time, it's a killer Santa Claus. And, this Christmas horror movie was known for being so controversial that it almost got pulled from the world. And it was released in 1984. That film is going to be, of course, for Silent Night, Deadly Night, the very first one. So, yeah. That'll be the next review. Until then, guys, that'll be it for this review. Thank you all for watching. If you like this, want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.